Sports Intel with Ryan Walsh is brought to you by
Mary Freebed, Collectible Insurance Services, West Michigan Eye Care Associates, Eric Hall Aesthetic and General Dentistry, Calder Financial, Grand Management Group, Encore Business Group, and Rydan Investments.
Sports Intel with Ryan Walsh.
Stay informed and stay vigilant. Coming back here with Dave Dalton of the Piston Fanatic Podcast. Yeah, Dave, I thought you made a lot of good points before the break there. We talked about the guard situation a little bit. I wanted to talk about the Levert situation a little bit as well, but I also wanted to handle what you're talking about the power forward piece, because I feel like that is the one spot where they do need somebody to take those minutes. I've seen the depth chart, as I'm sure you have, that ESPN kept putting up during Summer League, and it looked a little wonky because it was like guards spread out through the whole depth chart. You had Harper and Holland at power forward somehow on one of them. It was just kind of a wonky depth chart. I do think they need that backup power forward. I liked LaRavia as well, and Collins. I was high on both of those guys, as you were, but I'm curious who you would want now. We both would have opted for those guys had the situation arisen and if we were in control of it. But what would you want to go for now? I have a couple picks, but I'm curious what you see, because I have a feeling it might be similar to what I'd like on the open market, because obviously there's less choices left here.
Yeah, so I don't know if you ever talked. I mean, the P.J. Washington is a fascinating guy to me that I just don't see where they are going to have minutes for him. They say they want to keep him, but they have, Cooper Flagg there, and they have all those bigs that play there, and so I just don't see how they're going to have the minutes for all of them. And so they're paying him not that too much money, so he would fit, in that, I think that $14 million thing that we got in that trade exception, I think he would fit in that. And so, anyway, I just feel like we could get a guy like that. And who's the guy? You got to help me out. I know this guy, Boucher, the guy from, I think, Toronto.
Yeah, Chris Boucher from Toronto. Yep.
Yeah. So he's another guy I would, so if this were 2 years from now or whatever, and there was a guy available on the market like Laurie Marketing, that would be the time to make the swing. But now it's not the time to make the swing. But still, we're not ready to go for the big move, but at the same time, we want to win. We don't want to take a step back. And so we are really susceptible to Tobias Harris getting injured. And, he didn't even play well until January. And so he at his age, he could take a dip. I mean, I love everything about him. He was wonderful for us last year. He was this great vet. He's just a class act in every way. And so it'll be interesting. So what are your ideas? Who do you see available?
Well, P.J. Washington, I'm in on him if they can get him. I'm with you on that one, Coach, because I've got the roster up right now, and like you said, with the addition of Flagg, you've got Davis, you've got a couple really good centers there. It's already log jammed even without P.J. Washington, in my opinion, and then it's even worse with him in there, and he is somebody that deserves minutes, and I think would fill that role very nicely, and maybe even be that follow-on veteran to Tobias Harris. That's probably the best succession plan if they can get it. I limited myself to what's available in the free agent market, so obviously that's a little bit less, but I'm totally with you. That would be my number one choice. But there's one that's a familiar name to Pistons fans, and you mentioned one of them, which was Boucher. That's one that would be on my list. One thing that blew my mind, Coach, I don't know if you probably already knew this, but I was looking this up for this segment, and the other name that I was thinking is a former Piston, Trey Lyles.
Oh, yes, but he got signed by the Spurs.
Did he? Yeah, I thought he got signed. But the thing that blew my mind when I was looking up Lyles is that he's younger than Boucher. That kind of blew my mind.
Oh, yes. I wouldn't have predicted that.
Yeah, he's been in the league for a while, and he's been he's been around, and so is Boucher, but I would have had their ages switched. Boucher's 32 and Lyles is 29. So that would have been a little bit more in the prime window. But yeah, I've always liked Boucher. I mean, I do think his combination between being able to shoot the three and defend like he can would make him a very switchable piece no matter who you put him with. If you put him with, because that's what I look at with that position. Can he play with Stewart? Can he play with Duran? Can he play with Harris in a pinch? Can he play the center next to Harris? I think he could do all of that, even though his size, he's not huge. I do think he could play center against certain lineups with Harris, in addition to playing power forward and stretching the floor with the other two guys and being a switchable big.
Definitely. And the Trey Lyles, though, I mean, again, I think he's not available, obviously, anymore now that he signed with the Spurs. But a sad thing happened with him. He's a very good player, and he's very, very intelligent, and he's an excellent passer. So Duncan Robinson's a way better passer than Malik Beasley. And I love Beasley, and we never would have had the season we had without Malik Beasley. So don't get me wrong that I'm just on Malik Beasley because we don't have him. But Robinson is longer. He's a better passer. He's a great movement shooter. He takes lots of gravity. He actually even moves without the ball, I think, better than Beasley did, which Beasley was always open until the end of the year. Teams started to really prioritize him, I think. But anyway, Trey Lyles, sadly, he had his worst year with the Pistons. I mean, his shooting percentages went up. Like when he went to the Kings, his percentages went up over 10%. He shot higher on threes, and he was always a good 3-point shooter. And he was with the Rockets when the Rockets were terrible, and he averaged 17 a game. So, but I would have loved him. He would have been a great veteran and a 3-point shooter and an outstanding passer. I think he would have been a real good choice. But again, I guess I'm not wasting our time talking about a player that's not there. So, yeah, there's not that many guys, but it's certainly a buyer's market. And so there are a lot of guys that got Colin Sexton. They got him for nothing. And really, Powell and Collins both got traded for hardly anything. Those teams, the Clippers got Collins and the Heat got Powell, and really the Jazz didn't get very much of anything. So, it would have been a great time if we could have plucked some guy out of the sky, but I don't see it happening. I'm still so optimistic about our team. I'm still so excited. I can't wait to watch them play. And I expect Cade to take a significant leap. I expect Duran to improve a lot. But the big leaps are going to be Asar and Ivy, I think. And so I'm excited. And like you were trying to, like I said at the very beginning of your podcast or your radio show, that look what Trajan does. Listen to what he says. Last year he intentionally did not get a backup point guard until Ivy broke his leg. And so he wants Ivy to play the backup one. Ivy did a really good job. If you remember at the end of his rookie year, Cade broke his leg, he had that surgery on his shin or whatever, and Ivy had some really great games at times. So, but that Trajan's not in any hurry to get there. There are a million backup point guards on the market right now, and they're not even all. There's going to be some guy that's decent for the vet minimum, and then our guy that's in the he's in the G League that played in the summer league. That's Jenkins,
Dennis Jenkins.
Yeah, he was great in the summer league. He looked like, if you needed a backup point guard just to fill in here or there, I rolled the dice on him. He looked really good. He's a feisty guy. He's lots of energy. He's a little bit like Holland, I think. They're both pretty interesting, fun-loving guys. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you on all that, Coach. I think you made a lot of great points with the Jenkins piece. I think they have depth on the roster. I think LeVert is also going to play a little I don't know if you want to call it point guard, but dominate the ball a little bit when he's in, depending on the lineup. So you got minutes there. The Robinson point was great because I think people kind of underrate his help defense, which Tom Crean was highlighting during the summer league, and his ability to pass, which has improved big time. I encourage people to check out Matt Issa's article, the one that was initially supposed to be in this slot. He writes for Forbes, and he has a great article on Robinson and his improvement and some of the statistics behind it. But yeah, there's a lot more stuff to discuss here, Coach. But we'll have to have you on a future show in order to do that.
Yeah.
I want to make sure you get a chance to plug the podcast and tell people where to find you in the meantime here.
Well, I'm just on the Piston Fanatic Podcast on YouTube. That's the only place I do things. I have Piston Fanatic 1 on Twitter, but I don't have that many followers. I don't even, I'm just an old retired coach, and I love talking Pistons, and so I don't, I'm not into just really having all this other stuff, but I just love talking to you, and I love my Pistons. I'm so excited, and I appreciate you having me on. It really means a lot to me that you would even ask me to be on. So thanks a lot, and I'm always happy to pop on whenever you need me.
Yeah, we love having you on, Coach. You always give us great stuff. And, there's a lot of reason to be hopeful this year. So hopefully we'll have you on a few more times as the season develops, and we'll look forward to that. But we'll talk to you again soon here, Coach.
Yeah, and we'll talk about how the Magic really improved and the Hawks really improved, and maybe we can talk about some of that stuff. So thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the Eastern Conference is going to be interesting this year, so I think there's going to be a lot to talk about. But appreciate you coming on, Coach. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
All right, you too. All right, thanks to Dave Dalton. Appreciate him coming on, and check out the Piston Fanatic podcast. He's got a lot of passion, and he's got a lot of knowledge, too. So we're going to switch our attention here to baseball and talk to Jerry McKinnon of Tigers Minor League Report. He's going to take us through his thoughts on the draft and the Major League roster and what's going on with the team here. They're going through a little bit of a drought, but they're playing well overall. So we'll see what Jerry has for us after the break. Stick with us. You're listening to Sports Intel on Jethro FM.
Sports Intel with Ryan Walsh.